Right, back tonight on In Focus. And let's start there. Regional force fighting jihadists in Mozambique says it had opened an investigation over a video apparently showing some of its troops burning corpses. The clip circulated on social media depicting some soldiers hurling a corpse over a pile of burning rubble where another body is already strewn. A soldier pours a liquid over the body, including one wearing a South African uniform. Watch the film. The scene on mobile phones. Details of the incident were not immediately clear. In a statement, the Southern African force in Mozambique said it takes note of the viral video clip depicting members wearing apparent SADC member state military uniform burning bodies of the deceased. According to the statement, the commander of the force has convened a broad inquiry to thoroughly investigate the matter, but is unable to confirm that the incident occurred within his area of responsibility. Regional troops were deployed in Mozambique's north in 2021 under the auspices of the Southern African Development Community. The mission, in which South African troops are the mainstay, aims to shore up the Mozambican military in the fight against Islamist militants. Right, for more on this, we are now joined by researcher at the Institute for Security Studies, Borges Nhamirre. Borges, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. What do you understand about this video and what was happening there?
Well, first of all, I understand this is a lack of discipline by the Samim force. I understand that there's still ongoing probe to identify what happened. But taking into account the uniform they are wearing, we can say that it is confirmed that the Samim force engage in that very brutal action. So this, first of all, is lack of discipline by the soldiers. And secondly, I'm afraid that this will affect all the Samim deployment to Mozambique, because as we know, this mission is partially funded by the European Union. And I don't think that council will allow that funds that they are placing to help to fight insurgency, to help to fight terrorism can be utilized to brutalize people. No matter if they are insurgents or no, that is against the international law.
And who would be held accountable here? Who would be responsible for the discipline of these troops?
I think several member states of SADC. So this will, of course, the country, the deploying country, no matter if this is a Samim mission, this is a SADC mission, but the deploying country, they are responsible for the action of their members, their defense force members in Mozambique, but also Mozambique, because as we know, this SADC mission includes Mozambican soldiers as well. So I think what the probe will bring is to us to understand who is involved in it. Is it South Africa, Botswana? We can already see by the uniform, but that area of Nangadi where this situation happened is also deployed Tanzanian force. So the probe will help us to understand which forces are involved in this, and I think all the countries which forces are implicated in this will have to have some responsibility on it.
And how is this going to affect, I suppose, the work of Samim in Mozambique, which really was to assist and shore up the military in that country in the fight against the Islamists? Does it set that work back and certainly would put a damper in the work that they have put in so far?
That is the big issue. Because we all recall that before the SADC deployment to Cabo Delgado, Mozambican Defense Force itself were committing human rights crime. We all remember about the killing of a naked lady somewhere in Cabo Delgado, and another suspect to be sergeant being killed. So we believed, when I say, I mean, the world believed that by the deployment of a regional force, that would help to respect more human rights of those involved in the Cabo Delgado. And we must understand that we are talking about innocent people, because if there's no closed case from the court, those people, they are still innocent. So even if they are insurgent, the international law doesn't allow it. So this proves that SADC is failing. That's why it's very urgent and important to have the outcome of the probe to see what decision SADC will take what decision the single state will take to punish or to hold responsible their members who are engaged in this very brutal situation, so that it can save the good reputation of the region. Otherwise, this will have a very drastic consequence.
Do you think this would be a work of maybe independent bodies that would need to look into this, or do you think the work, for example, that will be done by the South African National Defence Force would suffice as far as an investigation is concerned?
I really think South African Defence Force alone is not enough. Actually, they are not independent enough to conduct the probe. So it's important to include the international body. I'm talking about a United Nations, for example. I'm talking about a human rights organization like Amnesty International. So this is very important to include other bodies which can check the facts. Cannot hide information, not because we cannot trust in the capacity of South African National Defence Force itself to probe the situation, but this is because they are in conflict of interest. How will they blame themselves?
Now, there have also been questions around whether there could be a clear exit for Samim in Mozambique. Do you get a sense that, this mission having extended multiple times and this misbehavior now that there's crept in and this ill discipline, as you put it, would this be an indication that it's time maybe to exit?
No, several times, because Mozambique still needs this Samim presence. We have this incident, of course, but the overall work done by a Samim force in Mozambique is very important to help to contain the attacks. We all recall that before the deployment of Samim, but also of Rwanda to Mozambique, the terrorists were controlling large territories in Mozambique. They were occupying towns and districts. So the deployment of Samim force is very important. The work they have been doing here overall is very good. They have improved the security in the country. And I don't think this single incident is enough to say, okay, this is time for to stop the Samim, because otherwise people will be killed anyhow. So I think what needs to be done is to conduct a very transparent probe and find out what happened and take the necessary decision to hold responsible those who are engaged in this situation. But overall, the mission is good. Overall, the soldiers who were deployed from different countries to Mozambique, they are doing a great job. They are sacrificing their life to protect Mozambicans. So this will not be a question because of this incident.
Now, Borges, we wanted to talk to you yesterday also, before I let you go, on this development around Isma Maluda Ramos Nengi. What do you know about this from a point of view of being a Mozambican man yourself?
Well, first of all, I need maybe to bring a little bit of a context to say that Mozambique in the last 10 to 15 years has been experiencing this new type of crime of kidnap for ransom. And this is happening with certain a community of Asian businessmen. So what I'm saying is that the most of the victims are Asian origin businessmen from Pakistan, from India. There we have some few cases of a native Mozambican or Portuguese, but this is not the majority of the victims. So first of all, it's very necessary to conduct a kind of assessment and start to understand what is happening. So this arrest in South Africa is very important. It's very important because this is the very first time that a kidnapping kingpin is arrested. So far, people have been arrested and brought before the court. People playing, the middlemen, the drivers, people who playing a very low role in this crime. So this is very important. We'll have to wait and hear from the court until we see if this man is extradited to Mozambique and listen to the trial to see what is happening. So far, what we can say is that this is a very good news for Mozambique. This is a very good news for region, because those people who have been kidnapping in Mozambique, they have been also terrorizing in South Africa.
So you're saying these syndicates have been gaining in terms of frequency and popularity with this type of crime in Mozambique. Where exactly are they taking those who are abducted to, and what actually is involved in this particular syndicate and the ring of kidnappings?
First of all, they have several million of dollars. So they have too much money. A calculation that have been made concluded only in last year, approximately 50 million USD have been paid in ransom. So that is a lot of money for a poor country like Mozambique. And secondly, answering your question, they rent houses in the suburbs of Maputo. They take the victims to those suburbs. They put them there, sometimes for more than a month. The police, unfortunately, and all the law enforcement agents, they show a lack of capacity to investigate and arrest them. So sometimes they put the victims, they hold the victims for more than a month until the relatives find some money to pay. Sometimes if people don't have enough money to pay once, they can even pay installments to be released. So they have been enjoying, too much power here. Police is not doing enough. So I think this arrest in South Africa, which is a result of a cooperation of the South African police, but also of the Interpol, it maybe is the way out to try to contain this situation, because Mozambican law enforcement agencies alone, they have proven very weak to contain the situation.
Borges, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. Borges Nhamirre, he is a researcher with the Institute for Securities Studies there.